Okay, hello everyone. Let's see. Today we are continue to watch the video from the Introduction to Chan meditation that Master Heng Lai organizes yearly, I believe, at Snow Mountain in Seattle. I believe he does it once a year, so it's about 3 days, and you go there and you learn about, Chan meditation, the Wei Yang style that he learned from his Chinese master, Chinese teacher, the same teacher as mine. When I was a novice with him, my teacher died very quickly, and so I never got to receive personal training from him. He only taught me briefly, and then he left me to my own devices. So I had to go around and beg for instruction from these monks. But at the time, 25 years ago, Master Heng Lai wasn't even teaching. So I assure you, it is a real privilege to be able to listen to what he has to say, because I'm curious as to what he learned from his Chinese teacher. When I was there, I was meditating. I started shaking like that gentleman over there, although it's not as bad. And of course, I was worried. It's not normal, because no one else was shaking except me. So I asked around, and the senior monks didn't get to talk to him because he's too high up there. Plus, he doesn't talk to people. And no one could advise me on what to do. Of course, I was worried. Said I had no choice because no one really gave me advices, and so I continued, and it got worse, much worse. Years later, it got so much worse. What you think yours is bad, you ain't seen nothing yet. So my personal experience indicates that what I've seen later from all of you is nothing compared to what I went through. And then I went to Korea a couple of years ago, 2-3 years ago, and went to this temple where one of the newly minted novices was shaking like crazy. And it was so bad that her teacher scolded her, punished her, and even prevented her, wouldn't let her meditate or practice, even bowing. He wouldn't even let her do that. So she was, the novice was very, very, of course, upset. And she was considering quitting. So she came to me. She told me about the problem. She asked me what to do. She said, "No one can help me. Will you help me?" And at the time, I was new in the country, so never met a Korean who shakes. So I was curious. So I fixed it for her. So she stopped shaking immediately, or wasn't as bad. And so she didn't quit. I didn't want her to quit. Okay, I know how tough it was. I remember when I was a novice monk, it was very tough, extremely difficult. And just like her, I really had no guidance, so I just didn't want her to quit. So I helped her. the shaking is a very good thing. It's a very good state. If you practice the meditation intensely, it will happen to you, to some of you, and it's a good thing. It's nothing to worry about. It's not a demonic state by any means. Not the way these people are what happened to these people. So it's a good thing. Please don't worry. Okay, if you do the chanti more, it will shake a little bit more. So don't worry. Many of my students also shook even more, and they got better. They basically can stop it. Actually, I can teach them how to stop it at will, but I don't. Would you like me to teach you how to do it? You don't? Why not? What's wrong with you? Huh?
Because you said shaking is good.
But wouldn't you like to stop it because it gets better?
Yeah.
Okay. You will, eventually, if you make progress, will get better. Okay. There are extreme cases where people were about to quit. A couple of Koreans I know, younger Koreans who were sincere in their meditation practices, and they had problems and no one could help them. They asked a lot of people, big shots, experienced song teachers, chant teachers, and they couldn't get any help. And so I had to help them. And there's a price to pay. There's two ways to do it. If I help you, or you learn to help yourself. Okay, it can be done. If I help you, there's a price to pay. If I help you, then you probably can't come anymore because your blessings run out. If you do it yourself, eventually you fix it at the same time you're increasing your blessings. Then you can continue. Okay, there's no interruption. But for these people that I helped, they can't come to they can't see me, they can't talk to me for quite a while. Okay, so that's what happens. When you get help, then you're exhausting your blessings. I prefer to teach you, guide you, how to take care of it yourself. Okay, there's a caveat. If you do it right, you follow instructions, you will get out of it, you improve, and more importantly, your faith will improve. There's some people who sort of half believe, half not believe, so as they improve, we got a little bit worse, and they said, and they quit. Okay, and so it's a test of faith as well. Anyway, any questions or comments? It's a good thing, don't worry. Here, we don't allow any demons to harass you, so you don't have to worry about that. No questions? Okay. See, it's only for abnormal people, so it's not a big deal. All right, let's continue. There's a few more minutes left in this video. I'm supposed to start it, sorry.
待会自己就
可是碰到极点就做不下去了，心乱了，那怎么办？
She asked, say, extremely pain sometimes really can't understand with how should she do it.
Well, the master always told everybody, try your best. And it becomes so incredible you can't take it, then you go to the half lotus. etc. And if you have any kind of problems, like some sort of physical defect, like you have a problem with your bones or some kind of medical issue, he did not encourage people to sit in the lotus then because they can't, they want to hurt themselves. But he always encourages, he used to tell us, when you don't think you can stand the pain anymore, count to 10 very slowly before going to half lotus. He really pushed us. But I found for me, to train your legs to be in the lotus, it takes a while because your legs need to get trained that way. And so I, like for instance, when I'm sitting at a desk working, I don't like to sit in a chair. Chairs are the most uncomfortable thing, like that kind of chair. I use a chan bench, just make it small, like we're sitting out, those kind of, just a small chan bench. Like upstairs, I just have a chan bench to sit at the desk. So that I'll naturally go into the lotus when I'm working. I don't think it's too painful to put my feet down, but at least the legs get used to it. They say, oh, okay, it's no big deal. After a while, you just naturally sit that way. But if you have like a Western chair all the time, you're working out of, it's really hard for me. I can't sit in the lotus on a normal chair. A lot of times when you go to these way places, they want you to give a lecture or something, they give you a chair. I hate that. Give me a little chan bench to sit on, or just a cushion. I'd rather do that, than sit in the chair. Unless it's a really big chair like Shifu would lecture from, like a high seat.
Or a sofa.
Like if you ever look at the high seat at Wangfacheng, it's very big, it's really wide, so you can sit in a full lotus on it. Very, just right. Your legs aren't going to hit the sides. And that's a classic high seat, because for centuries, that's how all Dharma masters would lecture. They get up on the high seat and they go in the full lotus and lecture. So the high seats, these seats were very specially made. These were actual chairs, but they were very wide, so you can actually sit in full lotus. Of course, I got really tall, so my knees stick way out. But they, I find that to be the most helpful for me when I'm just working daily. If you're sitting somewhere, I prefer to sit on a chan bench than a chair. That's just for a few minutes or something.
这个很长了，我看能不能全部记下来。来吧。
So he is sharing with us the importance of training yourself to sit in full lotus. It's a really very good for you. It's not easy, but it's a very good skill to have. That's why we recommend that this is Chinese Chan, in particular in our Weiyang lineage. We strongly urge you to do that. It's too bad we can't see how he sits. I noticed on a prior video he sits with his legs about this wide. Okay, and that's that's how you typically sit when you do a long sits. But I remember I myself, when I was a novice, was struggling with that as well because it's not easy to sit. And one day I noticed that one of the bhikshunis, the nun, senior nuns, Caucasian nun, PhD from Berkeley, disciple of Master YongHua, she came to one of the temples I was a novice, and she sat down at a chair, regular office chair. That has, there's two walls on the side here. Okay, so when you cannot sit this wide anymore. So I was curious because they gave her that chair. I said, is she going to sit like that? Is she going to sit in half lotus or straight legs or something like that? But she sat down and she put one leg on, left leg on, and then I was watching intently. How is she going to do it? I was nervous, remember? So I could stare at women. That's okay. Monks, we don't do that. Monks are just, that's it. We done. Okay, we cannot stare at women like this, which is uncool, unbecoming of a monk. But I was nervous, so I was staring at her. I still remember the moment. And she put the right leg on top of her left leg, like in a way like this. So it fits in the chair straight like that. Okay? I was so impressed. I said, wow, no one ever taught me how to do that. And I didn't think it was possible. So looking at her, I said, if you can do it, so can I. You see, that's how competitive I was, and I am. So sure enough, a few months later, I trained myself. I found those narrow chairs. I would get on and sit and really pull my legs up until your legs hurt. And if you don't give up, the pain will make your legs a lot more flexible. Will make your tendons more elastic, your muscles more elastic. And so that's why I was able to now sit like this, even tighter if I need to. So that's the story behind that. It's that. So nowadays, when I see new people and I want to impress them, I would choose a very narrow chair. You see, so it's very useful skill to have. I don't think he can sit like that. He's too big. But a good thing to train yourself to sit in full lotus. Okay, there's a question from YouTube. Go ahead, YouTube question.
Yeah, so this question is from Jane. She asked, today when I sat, I dozed off. My body was swinging back and forth. Is it normal?
When you're sleeping, you swing back and forth. Oh, that's not normal. Okay, I think, because when I meditate and sleep, I don't know what my body does. So I give you answers based on what I know. Anyone else has any experience like that? The body swings? I'm kidding, Jane. It's okay. Don't worry. It's the same principle. There's a reason why you shake. If I teach you, then I have nothing else to teach you. That's why I hold off to it until like 10 years later. It's nothing to worry about. All right? Chinese call it quaking of ignorance. Wu Ming Chen. Vô minh chấn in Vietnamese. Yes, you too.
Yeah, so this question is from Kenny KK. Question is, I'm wondering if drawing Buddha images is a practice and if there is a benefit.
Depends on how you do it. If you draw it and you try your best to create an image that is more than you were able to do normally, then it's helpful. Because it will help increase the concentration. It's a form of meditation. Similar to, in Chinese, they do calligraphy. It's the same thing, similar thing. We don't have to do calligraphy. If you can do your drawings, whether it's Buddha image or lotus flower or whatever, Buddha images are actually more helpful. And will help your concentration. It will help develop your concentration to a certain degree. Okay, so it should be helpful. But if you draw the image as if it's a caricature or something casual for you, like what do you call it, doodling? Okay, then it's a waste of time. Any other questions? All right, continue, please. Oh, I continue.
他说实在是痛的没办法，他说但是如果是他尽量坚持，他说当时师父就鼓励他们尽量坚持，就是你实在忍无可忍的时候，你还可以练1、2、3、4、5、6、7、8、9、10，然后再把腿单盘。他说如果你没有腿没有任何的就是毛病的话，他说还是尽量坚持很多。平常呢，来会说他自己比如他的 office， 他就还是喜欢用那个长凳放在那里，他很讨厌坐那种 office 那种椅子，他觉得这个椅子不能让他盘一盘腿，他觉得不舒服，放下来。他以前师傅那个椅子就很宽，师傅随时都可以双盘。他说他最出去有时候给大家有时候开示这些，他最讨厌的就是一个窄的凳子放在那里，坐上去腿不能动弹，他情愿坐在地上，哪怕有一个垫子，然后可以盘腿，比较舒服一点。
It's a good thing that switch a new video. It's a good thing that the translator, the content is not very high Chan techniques, because the translator and the Chinese translator level is very low. She cannot possibly understand the advanced Chan concepts to be able to effectively or accurately translate. He's just telling a lot of stories.
When meditating, how can we focus on investigating? Because they are also distracted by other thoughts, distracted away from the investigating. So, how to focus on investigating?
Yeah, the master says that our minds are like wild horses, and or monkeys, and so you can't force your mind to stop. It just does what it wants to do. It jumps all over the place. So there's you treat your cultivation and your meditation topic like it's like having there's a famous cow herding pictures in Chan. It shows a small boy with a water buffalo. And he's trying to keep the water buffalo walking behind him on a path down the road. And the water buffalo doesn't want to go down the path. He wants to go and eat grass. So he's constantly having to bring the water buffalo back to the path again.
师父说，人的思想就像一头水牛，然后那个水牛会到处的吃草，不受控制。然后当你参禅的时候，你想让这个水牛喝水，但是它会不断的。
Find me the 10 pictures of the Chan thing, the guiding
然后
buffalo.
你就是能够
Can you
想
do
办
that?
法，
Okay.
就是要不断的用
The
功，
10
不断地让它跑走，不能够
whatever
走神。
in Chan. Okay.
So what happens is, of course, our minds are going to run all over the place. Now, as you sit longer and longer, your false thinking mind won't be so uncontrolled. But when you first start doing meditation, it's always like that. Our minds are like monkeys, or like wild horses. They'll go everywhere. So you have to bring your water buffalo back to the path. So how do you do that? Well, you have to have a lot of patience with yourself. Shifu always says you need to have patience when you do Chan. You need to be patient with your false thoughts and bring them back to the meditation topic. They'll wander off again, then you have to go back with your rope and bring the water buffalo false thoughts back to the path.
法师说。
YouTube question. When we're doing this, see if you can show flash a few of these pictures, drawings, so that people know what they're talking about, so that you guys become a little bit more Chan literate, instead of just regurgitating what I tell you. Yes, YouTube. Go ahead, YouTube question.
Okay, this question is from T.Hugh. Question is, occasionally I get a crawling sensation all over my body. Is that normal? It happens when I recite the Shiragama and Great Compassion mantras.
Were you at the cemetery? It's funny, someone asked me, I'm buying a house next to cemetery. Can you give me a feng shui thing to ward off the ghosts and demons? And my reply is that if it's not too late yet, back out of the purchase. And that's all. But if you want to, because if I have to elaborate, the feng shui cannot protect you from the ghosts and the spirits. It can protect you temporarily, physically, when you're at the house. But when you leave the house for work, for something, okay, or to go, to push your trash bin on the street for pickup, you're stepping out of that feng shui right there is enough for the ghost to come and possess you. So it's a bad idea for you to have a house in a cemetery. I wouldn't live there. Trust me. I personally would not live in such locations. Because you have troublemakers 24 hours a day. Why would you want to deal with them? It's theirs, it's their world. Oh, we have that? We did? Oh, Xianxun did it. Wow, look at this. Okay, so what Venerable Heng Lai was talking about is the Chan teachings. They have, you practice Chan, your progress in practicing Chan is can be described through 10 phases, okay, of the Chinese. I believe it's Chinese. The Chinese have a way of describing your progression of practicing meditation from zero to enlightenment. As that process is analogous to the person looking for a buffalo, something like that. Okay, and so you have, so it's very interesting to the point where not only the Chan people use it, but also some of the non-Buddhist people also use it to try to relate to us Buddhists where we are. And it's funny because someone who's non-Buddhist, who's really not trained in Chan, trying to explain to my disciples where they are through these 10 pictures, and which is nonsense. They don't know what they're talking about. That person doesn't know what he's talking about, of course. But he's a good guy, so we're not going to embarrass him. Let's see. So you have the first picture here, for example, where you actually are looking for an ox, meaning you're looking for enlightenment. When you practice Chan, it's only one purpose. It's just like you look for an ox, you practice Chan. Chan will help you, bring you to enlightenment. You know all the reason. So like this guy looking for the ox, okay, and then what's the next? I can't move this thing. Oh, and then number two, he sees the footprints. Okay, so he begins to see that he's getting some clues as to what to do. That equivalent is similar to your being told to train yourself to sit in full lotus. So you have clues on what to do. You read from the books, whatever information you get. And number 3, you see a kind of glimpse of the butt of the ox. Okay, you begin to make progress. Okay, so the ox in China is something of great value. Okay, and give you a livelihood, give you a future. So seeing the butt of the ox is something fantastic. Okay, payday is coming. Okay, it's in sight, and so forth. And then I can go on, but let's try to finish Master Heng Lai. This is standard fare. It's not a big deal. You can read it yourself. Yeah. All right. Is it okay? Should we go back to the video? In the future, you're going to ask, we can go and you can tell, you're going to talk more about these pictures, but what Master Heng Lai is referring to is those looking for the ox pictures. Yes, question?
Master, I just had a comment. There's I just finished reading your book, the Bequeath Sutra, from when the Buddha reached Nirvana, and then there was a really good analogy about Chan meditation, how it's kind of like making a fire, like rubbing the sticks together to make a fire, but the longer you sit, the better it is.
Yes. Right. Okay.
Just
very good. Yeah. How do I do this? Sorry, I don't know how to do it. Okay, YouTube question. Go ahead.
He's asking, when meditating, how can we focus on investigating? Because they are also distracted by other thoughts, distracted away from the so how to
Oh, sorry, someone
focus
talking.
on investigating?
Is there 2
Yeah.
questions?
Yes, YouTube.
I hear
There's a
says
YouTube
that
question.
Our minds are like
I
wild
think the
horses
video's playing.
and or monkeys.
Is it him? Well, yeah, it sounds like him. It's scary. I don't see his face. I only hear his voice. Sounds like
Okay, I'm
a
here.
ghost story.
Okay, so we have YouTube question from
Yes,
Due
YouTube
Nguyen.
question.
Yeah, it's YouTube question from Due Nguyen. Question is, hi Master, will I lose blessing if I ask you questions?
Depends on what kind of questions. If you ask me questions I don't like, you lose a lot of blessings. Of course you won't lose blessings. Don't worry. We lost it? Doesn't matter. Okay? Anything else? Don't worry. If you don't ask questions, here's the thing about meditation, Chan meditation. If you practice intensively, like the way we do at our temples, we're very intense. We don't want to waste time, so we want to maximize the benefits of Chan meditation practices, whether it's 5 minutes, 10 minutes, an hour, whatever. Our style, my personal style is that I don't waste time. I don't like to waste time. So we're pretty intensive, whether it's short duration or long duration. And when you do that, my experience has been, our experiences have been, especially for those people who practice intensively, we have a lot of obstruction, we have a lot of issues. And that's why you need to have, preferably, I was desperately hoping for that when I was with them, with these people, that someone will be able to answer my questions. So, of course, part of Chan training, my point is part of Chan training is to be able to receive answers to our concerns and questions. If I had that, honestly, I would have never left them. Because I felt like I had to keep on searching and searching and searching, looking for answers when these people were trained by my Chinese master, and they got much further ahead, and so I felt that I needed not to waste my time. I need to catch up with them more quickly. Yes, yellow. So no, you won't lose blessings. Don't worry. It's a good thing to ask questions. Actually, you're asking questions will help a lot of people realize that, oh, I have the same problem too. I couldn't verbalize it, or I didn't dare verbalize it. Yes, you have a question, yellow?
Okay. Yeah, the analogy of pulling the water buffalo, if people that are just learning, you don't want to affix to that, because it seems like that's a big burden that you're teaching yourself. Well, I got this buffalo, I got to keep pulling it back. Learning to drop your thoughts is sort of like a long process of learning to ride a bicycle. If you think about, instead of you being able to learn a bicycle in a week or something like that, like most people can, if it would take you a long time to, remember, well, what am I going to do if I put how am I going to keep my balance if I turn it? Eventually, all that sorts out. You get on your bike and you ride for 5 minutes and you've forgotten, you've forgotten all that you needed to learn. It's just automatic. Same with dropping your thoughts. Eventually, the thoughts are going to be there. They mean, and your brain monitors them less and less and less. Pretty soon, there's big spaces where you haven't had thoughts.
Yes.
At least that's
what happened to you.
Yes,
that's what you're trying to say.
Yes.
Yes? Okay. That's absolutely correct and incorrect. Okay? It is correct because this is exactly what happened to you. So thank you for sharing your experience. It's very good. However, each person is different. It is true that you cannot force it. However, for most people who practice meditation would be like you. They want to practice meditation and at their own pace, right? And let it happen naturally, which is a good thing to do. However, my personal experience, and a lot of people here are more in a hurry. Okay? Your experience is more like them, these people, the Chinese people. Okay? Our experiences is more like Americans. That's what we call ourselves, American way, and they are Chinese. Too Chinese, you ask me. They can accommodate you. They provide the environment. You go and you practice your own pace and so forth, and you go slowly. Eventually, it will happen. It's true, okay? And I can write a paper for you on why and so forth, and get a PhD for that, and somewhere in some kind of universities, because there's reason for all that. But that's. For us Americans, for me personally, it's too slow. Okay, I'm very impatient by nature. If I do something, okay, I have a plan. Okay, it comes from my corporate experience. If I go to see my boss and say I want to do this, I better give him a plan. Otherwise, I be canned. That's my world. Okay, I lose credibility and won't have chance to get promoted. That's my world. Okay, so there are people like us, like me, like many of them here, where they're on a timeline. They said, I want to do it quickly. There's a reason. They say, you claim that meditation help reduce my stress. Okay, my stress is killing me. Can I reduce my stress more quickly? And the answer would be yes, here. But you go over there and say, I want to reduce my stress quickly, and they say, okay, come an hour on a weekend, and eventually the stress will be reduced, like your experience. Okay, they can't, they will not satisfy my needs. If I'm a person who says I need to become enlightened I give you 10 years. Do you have a program to make you become enlightened? Okay, you tell me what to do. Okay, if I do everything you tell me to do, will I become enlightened in 10 years? I'm that kind of person. Okay, I do anything, rob a bank, you name it. Okay, okay, and if I do everything you give me instruction, become enlightened in 10 years. Okay, I'm willing to consider it. Okay, and so Chan meditation, Wei Yang, has that repertoire. Part of the repertoire is to go take care of the intensive people as well as the non-intensive people. Because why? Because for the normal people, well, it's like wine. They will age gracefully and beautifully, and it's fun. Okay, it's fun. And we have synthetic wines where we need to make money more quickly. So Wei Yang is able to handle that. For example, he says, you cannot control your mind. I beg to differ. I can show you how to control your mind, but you have to pay a price. Okay? You cannot say, I'm not going to sit here like them and say, you have to sit a long, long time. That's the only way your mind will naturally, that's what they say. That's what all the Chinese say. Naturally, the mind will be, your monkey mind will become trained. And I beg to differ. I said, it's too Chinese. Okay? You come to my company, and you tell me, you sit for 10, sit and gradually your mind will be in control. I said, get out of here. We don't have that kind of time. Okay, so I'm a lot more Americanized than these people. Oh. So I agree with you. You're correct in that we like people. We like to provide, like these people, the Chinese people, they provide you environment and the technology for you to progress at your pace. That's fine. But what they don't have, the way they answer, the way I learned watching, from what I watched from this monk so far, they don't have the crazy technology for crazy people like me, impatient people like me, when I need to get to my goal quickly and I go back and take care of my family and my friends and so forth. Okay? Does it help? So it depends who you are. Okay? If you come to me and you say, I have this need, I have COVID-19, how the heck do I get rid of it? I say, how badly you want to get rid of COVID-19? Okay? You want to do slow? 10 years? You want to do it in 10 days? Right? So it's up to what you want. And that's Wei Yang, by the way. Wei Yang has a full repertoire from slow to extremely fast. It seems like the Chinese, what they brought through them is the slow pace. Yes, yellow.
Well, nevertheless, slow or fast pace, you need and you develop patience.
Yes.
So it's a little bit of patience every week or even a smaller amount every day.
It's not patience. I beg to differ. Patience is only a secondary benefit. You know what the fast program does that the slow program cannot? Anyone? Yes.
Sudden enlightenment.
Yeah. Yes. And what else? Before even you don't even become enlightened. The purpose of the normal pace is to make you feel comfortable and satisfy the Chinese requirements, But for us Americans, American way, we want to go a little bit more nuclear. Okay. The requirement for the nuclear option. It's a political season. Grow up. The nuclear option is what? Faith. Because we're going to tell you to do things that other people would not normally tell you to do. And if you want nuclear option and you stick with that, okay, the only way for you to stick with that nuclear option is for your faith to increase exponentially. That's the only way. Whereas over here, your faith will gradually blossom, That's the difference. So it's not about patience. Patience will occur in both paths. Okay. But the difference is that this will not be as demanding. The nuclear option demands much higher level of faith development than this side. Okay, it's exponential. That's why. And it's understandable because my Chinese master brought the Wei Yang training for the first time to this country, okay, to the United States. And he had all these people who are normal people, not crazy people like us. Like, look at him. There's nothing normal about him. Okay? All right. Any other questions? And that's part of my fun too, because I see people with different pace, different desire, different interests. And to me as a teacher, I say, how do I help you attain your goals? Your way, her ways, and so forth. And that's a challenge. It's interesting. Otherwise, I'd be bored to death, let's wait till next week, next month. Okay? All right. We still have a few more minutes.
Down the path, he wants to go and eat grass. So he's constantly having to bring the water buffalo back to the path again.
师父说，人的思想就像一头水牛，然后那个水牛会到处的吃草，不受控制。然后当你参禅的时候，你想让这个水牛喝水，但是它会不断的就走开去吃草或者是怎么样，然后你就只能够想办法，就是要不断的用功，不能让它跑掉，不能够走神。
So what happens is, of course, our minds are going to run all over the place. Now, as you sit longer and longer, your false thinking mind won't be so uncontrolled. But when you first start doing meditation, it's always like that. Our minds are like monkeys.
You see, this is what I don't want you to have, this misconception that naturally your mind will become controllable if you sit longer. Not always. For two reasons. Okay? Number one is, the primary reason being that you run into obstructions. You can sit as long as you want, okay? But eventually you run into obstructions on your continuing to sit, and that's why you have to learn how to deal with it. And so it's to say that long sits will eventually make it happen is incorrect. It's a misconception the Chinese Chan teaching creates to these people because they haven't trained many people yet. Because when they teach more and more people different levels, they will find out that the long sits are not designed to help you, primarily to help you calm your mind down. It's not. It's designed primarily to make your problems surface. Do you understand the difference? On the surface, it seems like, you sit longer, naturally your mind will calm down. That's true, okay? On the surface. But actually what happened is that the real issue behind that, and we Chinese say, 久坐生禅, the longer you sit, you will produce samadhi. But actually, in that process, the key is not long sits. The key is that long sits bring out challenges that will force you to learn how to cope with them. This is where they are not clear about. Yes, Yellow.
But Master, it seems like the longer you sit with patience, it brings out wisdom, and then once you gain wisdom, you don't have the problems you once did.
You don't have problems at your level. But if you stay there, you have no problem. You can sit longer. But when you try to move to the next level, eventually, when you sit longer, get to the point where you're ready to move to the next level, you have to face the tests. Okay? Listen, you go to school. For you to move to a higher grade, don't you have to take some kind of test somewhere during the year? Yes? Same thing. In Chan meditation, you sit longer all you want. But eventually you have to take a test to go to the next level. That's why the obstruction is. So, typically people who meditate, they like this even keel because they don't have to face the test yet. It's a misconception. When you meditate, yes, you will find peace, normally. But when you're ready, you face the test to jump to the next level. Okay? At that time, you have to learn how to deal with it. You have no choice. If you sit a long, long time, 10 years, 20 years, 20 lifetimes, eventually you'll get there. Okay? Eventually you will learn, you figure out how to pass a test. Because you can be, let me remind you, you meditate, you can be very peaceful for a long, long time. This is what it means. Okay? When you sit, you say, oh, I'm so blissful. I'm so happy. Nothing like meditation. Huh? It happens. Okay? For most of the people who meditate, most monks, most nuns, they experience that. They love it. Okay? They say, oh, you come and you harass me so much before you donate money. Oh, I can't take this. You meditate and you feel so peaceful again. Okay? Before they face the next person who's going to harass us, before they donate money. Oh, okay? So this is what happens to us. Okay? But eventually, in 10 more lifetimes, 100 more lifetimes, one of us would say, what the hey? Why do you have to put up with this? I'm afflicted by people when they donate money, before they donate money to the temple. I want to rise above that. That desire to rise above that will help you. One day you say, this is no longer enough. That's when you make progress. Is that clear? So, this is commercial. We charge you money. We guarantee you for $40, you sit with us, you feel peaceful. I went to New York. I went to many of those places. Come in. Would you like to join us? $40, please. Sit down. You feel peaceful. Yes, I do watch my competition. Okay? It's not like that here. You can sit here and you feel peaceful all you want, okay? But the environment is that it will naturally go like this. It's never like this. If it's like this, you would not be able to improve where you are today. Okay? Because it's all about the intent of this process. When we do this, when I do this, the purpose is not to make you like this and come and go home and tell your friends and your families, oh, I feel so peaceful today, you ought to come and we'll guarantee you peacefulness. What we do here is make sure at least like this, you will improve. Okay? That's the difference. That's what we decided to call it American Wei Yang. Because Americans are impatient. Okay, we don't want to wait for 100 more lifetimes. That's what happens to monks. Okay? They become monks and they get to a certain level, and lifetime after lifetime we come back, we become monks, and we feel peaceful. And we become, subsequent lifetimes, we become more famous, more disciples, bigger temples, but peaceful. If that's all we do, then I leave it to my disciples. I retire, I go to the Bahamas where I'm peaceful. Okay, time is up. Any final questions? Thank you, everyone. Let's go to lunch.